All right, I think there we go. I think we are live finally. That took a minute, but hopefully people will see this. Waiting for Lane to come on in. And for those who are going to wind up watching this after the fact, do want to say hello to you as well. Oh, we do have some folks joining in. Fantastic. So glad to have you here. Thanks for joining. We're going to be doing some live Cartomancy here. Hello, What in the Stars? Waiting for Lane to pop in here in just a minute. Hello everybody. So glad to have you here. So this is kind of an experiment. It's kind of a totally unknown experience. I've been on the receiving end of these a couple of times, but haven't actually done these live before. So this time around, what we're going to be doing is Lane and I have a bunch of decks that we're wanting to kind of experiment with and play around with a little bit. Some of them are regular playing card decks. Some of them are Oracle decks. I think one or two are tarot decks. I know it's a Cartomancy and we're doing everything but tarot in some cases, but that's okay. We're going to be doing just a couple different readings. If you've got questions that you want us to answer, we're going to throw that open to everybody. Eventually, once we get Lane on here and kind of get everybody joined in, then we'll have a chance to ask some questions and stuff like that. Your questions will help us test these decks, so it'll be really fun. Lane, are you in here yet? I don't. Let's see. I'm going to send that out to you. Hopefully she'll be joining. It looks like she's having a little bit of trouble here. Lane, you may have to update your Instagram if it's asking you to update the Instagram file. So, but while folks are joining in here, you don't have the camera icon. So I just sent you a request, Lane, to be able to add it. So it may be. It may ask you to do an update on your Instagram. Here, I'll try to send it again for you too, because it tells me when I go to the invites, it says that you have to upgrade your app in order to join, which it's always exciting, isn't it? So you may have to do that really quickly. But so while everybody else is kind of jumping in, joining in here, first of all, I'm shocked that we have this many people joining in for the live. I thought it was going to be like Lane and I and like 3 people. I'm thrilled. I love it. I love that everybody's kind of joining in here. You can send a request at the top when there's the down arrow. So you may have to go to the App Store and do the update from the App Store, as Emily's saying. I think that's going to have to happen there. Just Corpy, I see you saying that you've sworn off buying more decks. I do the same thing with books, and it never sticks. It just doesn't linger. I always wind up buying way too many books. Let's see. Okay, so I think joining us here in just a second. And I should say, I think we're going to have Lane. It's going to be Lane's hands. She's got it set up so that you'll be able to watch her doing Cartomancy. Kind of looking down at hers. I'll wind up kind of showing you the decks as I work with each one as well. So, Emily, that's a really good point. Finding a deck that speaks to you. It's funny because playing cards have always, any kind of playing card deck seems to work okay. For me, there's certain ones that I like better than others. But tarot decks, it's been a real struggle for me to find a tarot deck that I actually really like using. So I don't think you're alone in that. So hello. Let's see, Lane. All right, I think she's coming in. And just somebody says this Mercury retrograde. That's always the case with that. So let's see. Still waiting on that. It's just hard to find certain decks. I'm curious. We've had some people they're suggesting some decks here in the chat. So if people have favorite decks that you want to suggest, I recommend throwing them in there, because you never know, your deck may speak to somebody else as much as it speaks to you. So that's really, really good. And yeah, the cost factor can really be into it. I've been really, really lucky in that a few of the decks that I really like in terms of tarot at least, have all kind of come to me as gifts. One is the Muka Tarot, which a friend of mine sent to me a while back, and I really enjoyed that one. I don't have that one in front of me right now, but I really, really like it as a deck that I can get into, because I lived kind of in the place where Muka did a lot of his art and everything like that. And so his art very much speaks to me. But then there's this deck, which is one of the ones I'm going to use tonight, which is, I'll go ahead and pull it out. It's a deck called the 5 Cent Tarot. I don't know if anybody's heard of this or not. This is by a company called Madame Clara Sees All. Madame Clara does decks, a lot of different kind of decks. And it's a really interesting tarot deck, because instead of having your wands, your swords, your pentacles, and your cups, she's divided it out so that your various suits are things like your cups are still cups, but they're teacups. They're little teacups that are spilling, and she puts the actual kind of meanings of the cards on the cards, and you can see them both upright and inverted. And then you have, instead of wands or clubs, you have matches. So you have matches as that particular suit. You have, let's see if I can find, instead of swords, you wind up with needles. So needles. So the whole idea is basically like what would happen if you emptied out your junk drawer and found sort of tarot meaning in all of that as that goes. Let's see. And then the other one is. Oh, do we have you here? Oh, and then instead of pentacles, we have buttons. You have the buttons are your final suit in that Madame Clara deck. And then all of the different creatures are just kind of the little household creatures like frogs and mice and bats and things like that. So it's really fun. So yes, Modern Witch I hear is really, really good. And somebody suggested the Austin deck as well as some good beginner decks. So those are definitely, I think, ones to check out. I've seen the Modern Witch deck, and it's not one that I've sat and read with, so I don't really know if it would work for me or not. But it's a really cool looking deck. It's a really interesting looking deck, and I know a lot of people have sworn by it. We have Lane with us. Hi, Lane.
Finally, hi.
Listen, everybody is basically blaming Mercury retrograde at this point, and I'm not going to disabuse them of that notion. I think that's what's going on. So.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm just going to say that.
But it's good to have you. Hi.
Thank you. Hi, thanks. I really like the Modern Witch Tarot as well. I haven't used it yet, but I want to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those ones I think like if I sat down and used the video, that would be really, really into it because there's some cool symbolism that seems to be kind of woven into it. Mm-hmm. Somebody mentioned the Literary Witch deck. Both Lane and I are going to be using the Literary Witch Oracle tonight, in fact, because we both have it, and we're both big book nerds. So
yes.
No surprise there.
I'm excited. Although my hands are small, I can barely shuffle this. I'll probably have to do I can barely get my hands around it.
It's not just you. I mean, legitimately, I mean, I have like big old Tony Robbins hands here, mm-hmm. like the big old like banana fingers, and I find it hard to shuffle like the Literary Witch deck because it is so big. At the same time, I really love it because the art style in the Literary Witch Tarot or the Literary Witch Oracle deck is very much my speed.
Yes.
And then, of course, the sort of literary references in there are really, really wonderful. Somebody mentioned Jake Richards' deck. I haven't worked with his deck. His card reading system, he's basically using a playing card reading system. And so it speaks to me at that level very much, but I haven't sat down with it or had a chance to use it yet. I'm sure it's very good. I really liked his book, Backwoods Witchcraft. Mm-hmm. So I imagine I probably would enjoy his deck.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're reading Backwoods Witchcraft, aren't you, right now?
I haven't started it. But it's in the pile. Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoy. One of the things I really love about that book, I don't want to go on a huge book tangent or anything, but I'm sure we will. Is he spends the first third of the book basically telling you stories, like he's telling you stories from kind of the place where he grew up. Because he's like, you really can't understand the magic unless you understand the folklore and the stories from the region where I grew up, because it gives context to everything. It sort of mm-hmm. informs everything you do. And I love that. I think that's a really good. So hi, everybody. Yeah, welcome. So Lane, we want to try like a warm up reading, one on each other first, and then kind of go to sort of people in the room, their questions, or do we want to just dive right in and start taking questions?
I don't know. What do you want to do? I'm fine with either.
You know what? Let's ask the cards. I'm gonna pull. I'm just gonna grab a playing card deck here. This is the UC deck. It's called the UC Pagan deck. Really gorgeous. If you haven't seen this deck, this is an amazing deck. All their decks are really, really gorgeous. But what I'll do is I'll kind of shuffle it really quickly. If we get a red, then Lane and I will do a warm-up reading on each other. If we get a black card, then we'll go straight to taking questions from the room. Okay? So it's just a second. And all right. What do I have, Lane?
Red.
Okay, so we're doing a warm-up reading on each other. All right. So I think most of these Cartomancy pulls are going to be like one-card pulls tonight, right?
That's what I was thinking.
Okay. What do you want to start with? What deck do you want to start with?
Literary Witches, I think, just because we both have it and
sure.
I've been wanting to work with it more.
All right. Do you have a specific question that you want me to answer, or do you want to read first?
I was going to read first, but
okay, I can do that.
Do you have a question?
Sure. Let's see. Let me think of a good way to put this. I'll just throw it out this way. What is my career outlook for the rest of the year? I could really use an answer to that question.
Okay. Yeah, this is how I have to shuffle them.
Vintage Beagle, you said UC is up in your hometown. I know. Yeah, messing with the size. That's really cool. Somebody said they're in the town where UC does their printing. I mean, that's amazing. Their work is just remarkably good. So.
Yes. Whoa.
Sorry, I don't want to distract you while you're shuffling. So.
No, you're fine.
Actually, I will distract you a little bit while you're shuffling. Let me ask you: do you have any pre-shuffling rituals that you do? Any like special, like incantations you say over the cards? Any special way that you clear the cards or prep the cards?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I just, I do shuffle them with intention and with the like kind of request in mind, but I've been known to kind of like maybe pass them through some incense or something. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not like overly superstitious about it unless one like kind of falls out, and then I'm like, oh, what is that? What is that supposed to be? But otherwise, I'm just like
I like your.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, whatever comes out, comes out. So,
sure.
Okay.
Fair enough. All right, you got one?
Yep, let's do it. Oh, it's that same one I pulled earlier. Maybe I didn't shuffle it very well, but that's okay. We're rolling with it. So it's Charlotte Perkins Gilman.
Okay. Which
is Freedom. Have you ever read her?
I believe I have. No, I'm thinking Charlotte Perkins. You said Doyle or Gilman?
Gilman.
Gilman, yeah. Didn't she do Yellow Wallpaper?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've read her. So her whole thing is about feeling trapped by the constraints of society.
Yes.
And looking for a way out, and her way out in that story at least was sort of through madness. But it's a terrifying prospect. Yeah.
But her utopian novels and nonfiction are worth revisiting for their visions of a cooperative society in a place of gender roles and economics. So.
Yeah. And I know she was very progressive, kind of for her era, and quite frankly for today's too. So very cool. So how would you interpret that then? Have you read The Yellow Wallpaper?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
It's been a while, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I would interpret that as you're feeling trapped, and kind of like maybe you don't have an out, or you do, but it's not necessarily not knowing much about what's going on with your work right now. But I don't know, this kind of stood out to me in like the utopian novels and how things are going to work out. It seems like to me like you're going to feel really, really bound in, but you're going to get through it.
This isn't a you're going to suffer, but you're going to be happy about it situation.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I do like this, how it's like the yellow wallpaper is cracking in this picture.
Yeah,
It's really neat.
yeah, yeah. No, she's her story is remarkable for sure. And
Hmm.
yeah, I legitimately do need to go back and read some of her other work because the yellow wallpaper. Oh, mutual aid. That would be great. Um, so somebody post that in the chat. Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, so do you have a question ready?
Um, yeah, so how is our
Or
what? What
no,
was
go
that?
ahead. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, how is our new endeavor going to go? I'll leave it at that.
You're playing this particular card's close to the vest. I like that.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's good. So how is our new endeavor going to go? Okay, so all right. So clearing him a little bit, and then all right. How how will our new endeavor turn out? How's that going to go? All right. Now I'm using the literary, or the literary witches oracle as well. And again, I'm turning them with my giant bear paw hands, and they're still enormous, as you can see. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of them does slip out. All right.
A
So
Michael Bean podcast. Yes. I love
okay.
him so much.
So I got chicken.
Oh, okay.
So in the literary witches oracle, so you do have all of the different literary witches, which are kind of like your, I don't want to say major arcana, but they're kind of um, the big overarching kind of like characters, and they give you a very broad scope. But um, then you have these animals and things like that that are pulled from various um, components of literature. So, for example, the chicken for me reminds me of Flannery O'Connor because I believe she had a bunch of chickens that she would keep around her house, and she was never kind of chasing them around the yard and things like that. She had one that I think she trained to walk backwards, which is a fascinating little tidbit about Flannery O'Connor. She's a fascinating woman if you get a chance. But the chicken, as it's in here, says the cackle, ancient past, and what's that last word for the chicken?
Or
That seems pleasantly foretelling.
yes, I would think so. Good things, good
Oh, I
things.
think people are seeing these decks and saying like, I want these decks. This literary, which is oracle, is really fascinating. It's
Yeah,
really fun.
I love it.
Somebody says dun 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 for our endeavor together. Yeah, Blaine and I are working together on a project. You know, it's going to be either something remarkable or something absolutely chaotic, or maybe a little bit of both. So
Maybe both.
it's a good thing. All right, so let's throw it open to the floor. Let's hear. Uh, which wife says, "I adore Flannery O'Connor, but reading too much of her puts me in a weird mood." Yes, yes,
Same.
same. Like I can handle a short story or a couple of chapters, and then I'm kind of like, and I need a minute. Weirdly, I have something like that with Faulkner too. It may just be something about that like deeply Southern
Mm,
feel where it's almost a little too close to the bone for me. So,
yeah.
all right. So yeah, I think let's throw this open to the floor. If somebody wants to throw a question, I think I'm going to do literary witches oracle again for whatever the first question I read for is. Lane, are you going to continue with literary witches oracle for the first one?
I may let the person choose. I've got a few different ones.
Love that. Okay.
So I've got literary witches. I've got this Sacred Hags Oracle that you just sent me.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. And then I've got over here, I've got my Rider Waite
Mm-hmm.
and some botanical playing cards. So yeah, I'll let somebody pick.
Okay. Okay. So just Corpy says they're going to throw a question out here. So what's the question that we've got? And it's going to take a second to type this out.
Yeah, of course. And someone said earlier that their son was wondering if his Beanie Boo will be
Okay. Well, you know, I'll read for that one. Did you want which wife? Okay. Oh, okay. So which wife is asking for Sacred Hag's Oracle? So do you want to pull that one?
Perfect.
And I've got somebody else who says their dog has a pretty grim diagnosis today. How long do
Oh,
I have left with her? That's a tough question. And
oh.
I'll do the literary witches one, and we'll just kind of see what that pulls together. And I just want to say, who's this? My Witchy Weird. So I'm going to read for
Okay.
you on this one.
Okay. And this is
So
for which wife?
we're each going to do our own thing here.
Did I paint my nails for this live? Yes. Yes, I did.
I did not, and I apologize. I really should have.
You should have. Did
I've been
I
meaning to do that more
promptly
recently,
smudge them?
especially.
Yes. Yes, I did. Did you say you've been meaning to paint them more?
I have been, yeah. I really enjoy having painted nails, so
You should.
should do it more.
Okay.
I know you're down with it because it reminds you of Spike from Buffy, but
True.
all right. So
Alrighty.
okay. So I got Lion for the question about time
Oh.
left with the dog, which is it's an interesting way to go with that. I'm gonna look and see what the specific meaning is. I know what a lion kind of would mean for me, which would basically be, sort of reaching that. What I would say is that you've got some good time left, but it's gonna be kind of a golden period, and then from there, I would say maybe not as solid. But that's how I'm kind of loosely interpreting it based on the symbolism that's kind of in my head for that. Let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you what it says. Shining mastery and strength is what it says in the book. That shining kind of makes sense, the sense of sort of like it's a golden period. So right now, the immediate future, the next short period of time, I would say, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month or two, is going to be a time to really relish and spend that time as best you can. So, and I'm sorry to hear that about
Me
your
too.
mom.
Makes me so
That's
sad.
not easy. Okay. Somebody said Spike. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to laugh about that right after the dog, but somebody said Spike, and so now I'm Spike. Okay, so let's see.
Okay, so the one I drew is fairy pool baptism. So this is kind of sectioned out into 4 different things. And it's the seasons, the stories, the spells, and the sacred hags.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see where this one would be. I was trying to look it up before you got done, but it wasn't working. Okay,
That's
130.
okay.
Here we go. So as you can see, there's quite a bit on how to interpret this. Come to the water with me. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by what an ancient remedy that holy and cool element can be. Where shall we go? We might wade just a bit in the muddy mountain stream after a good rain, or perhaps we shall find the sweetest renewal in a waterfall, or the greatest grief medicine in that old grandmother called the sea. Water spells bring us closer to our sacred sensuality, to our erotic innocence. When we forget our more instinctual souls, when we get lost in the muck of reason or blinded by the light of too sterile social proprieties, we must go to the water and ask for a blessing. She will abide, that hallowed liquid. We are her kin, after all. And then it gives you a morning ritual, which is a spellbound shower of grace, and a moonlight ritual, which is a consecration of a moon chalice.
I love that they include the rituals that go with that. That's really neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Witch Wife, does that trigger anything for you? Does that, you know, resonate at all? Be interested to hear if.
Yeah.
Hi.
And then somebody, so since you have the Sacred Hags Oracle out, somebody did ask if you're willing to read with that for another question.
Yeah,
While
absolutely.
sort of thinking about that one, they put a question in the question section saying, for the Sacred Hags, will my custody battle work out in my favor? And they're sort of withholding some details on that. This is for Hooligans and Coffee, and they're asking, will their custody battle work out in their favor?
Oh, I'm sorry you're having a custody battle. It's
Yeah,
rough.
that's not. Yeah, as a as that sort of thing goes. It's not a fun situation, I'm sure.
Mm.
Oh, hi, Rachel. I see Rachel here. I see lots of people I know coming in our chat. So hi, everybody. Really glad to have so many people that we've interacted with over the years coming in to say hi and to join in on this. Yeah,
True,
seriously.
and that made me
Those do
happy.
suck.
Okay.
Hi, Katrina. I see you there. You're going to be on an upcoming episode, by the way. I don't know. That's probably should tell everybody that, but you are. We already recorded the interview, so.
Oh, this is interesting. Medicine of Mist Dwellers. So, I mean, I suppose it's supposed to be twins or maybe a reflection, but I find it interesting that it's two people like kind of turned away from each other, such as, in a divorce. So let me see what this says. Let me find it. I really do enjoy this deck. Medicine of the Mist Dwellers. Okay, so that's 138. Sorry, I'm sure this is
That's
thrilling.
fine. While you're doing that, somebody's asking about will their herbal skills improve this year, and I'll field that question here in a second. But let me ask you. This is the Ramblings of a Psycho. You're asking this question. Let me ask you. I'm going to tell you which decks I have. You tell me which one you want me to read with. I've got Literary Witches Oracle. I've got the 5-cent Tarot. I've got the Usi Pagan playing card deck, the Portable Fortitude playing card deck, or Mildred Payne's Oracle of Black Enchantment, which, by the way, I've heard Tara Love McGuire talk about this one, and she says it will read you for filth, and it will. It'll tell you some dirty secrets. So just let me know which one you would like the most.
Okay. So in this one, the kind of little, I don't know, description. What does it mean to be immortal? What anguish would there be in an animal life that never ended? We might think we know the answer to such questions, but can we really consider them in the absence of our religious indoctrination? We've all been damned by the notion that the sacred exists only in some distant heaven. If the sacred is here, then where is the horror in immortality? Ghosts are real, I assure you. The soul lives on, the medicine known to all the mist dwellers, all those ancient and knowing souls who understand the power of liminal space and time, is called presence. It is a long life we want. If what we desire is to have more time for love and for for art, perhaps all we need to do is be as present as possible for as long as we can. Tell me, what makes time move slowly for you? What swaddles you in such a way that the time crawls around you like a holy serpent? Whatever your answer, this is the key to a life well spent. And then, so the rituals are a spell of time eternal. I'm not sure what that means. And then moonlight ritual. The three wonders. So how do you interpret that, Corey? I'm kind of struggling.
I was in the middle of shuffling for most of that. So again, to remind me again about the question, because I heard a lot of the interpretation, but what was the question for that one?
Oh, the custody battle.
Custody battle.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's a pleasant process.
Yeah.
From that, and this is because it's talking a lot about this idea of immortality, right? This sort of sense of like, and we consider children to be kind of our immortality in some of those situations. And I don't know if this is about children or if this is about something else in terms of custody, but I know for a lot of people that would sort of be that. But it's the idea of legacy, the idea of what you leave behind you, and the things that sort of give you immortality. So this is going to be, I would say, a very existential battle.
Yeah.
And it's going to call into question some of the things that you might hold most dear in some ways. And that's just like me again. Like I was half listening because I was focusing on this other question at the time. So you could hear this and be like, what is he talking? Is he high? And I'm not. I promise not. But just sort of that's what I'm kind of
Yeah,
feeling.
no, I can see that though. But also, I do think it's saying, just no matter the outcome, like enjoy the time that you have with them. So I do like that message. But
Yeah.
again, I hope
Uh,
that answers something for you.
yeah. And this is yeah. Oh, so yeah, somebody was asking the deck. Somebody
Yeah, thank
responded.
you.
Okay.
Just Corp.
So somebody who was it that asked about the ramblings of a psycho? Okay, so you asked about will your herbal work improve this year? Is that's the correct question? I'm hoping because that was the question I was reading on. Um, and so I did the Oracle of Black Enchantment. Just to let you know, this is an Oracle deck. This is not a tarot deck. And the whole concept behind this deck is that there's all these like sort of weird woodcut designs with little pictures that sort of explain different pieces of kind of a story. They're all sort of witches and strange things kind of happening. So when I pulled yours, you're asking, is your herbal work going to improve? And it gave me card number 14, which is the cauldron. So
Hmm.
the the little white book version of this, the little text that kind of comes with it says, under the light of an energized moon, three hags combined gory ingredients for their horrid concoction. Which, like, I don't think I've ever heard a better description of like witches working with herbs, right? Um, the inverted me or the inverting, so you can do kind of dark or light meanings. You can kind of read it in reflection on both sides of this. This comes to the idea of what I've heard people talking about. Corinne Boyer and Witch of Southern Light, Marshall, and a few other folks have talked about is this dextral versus sinistral, the sort of right versus left hand readings of this. And I
Mm.
would say you kind of actually look at the field of the reading and look at kind of all sides at once. So the dark meaning of this is a bad mix, evil deeds or plans coming together. And the light meaning is breaking up and dissolving a big problem, taking a few bad things and turning them into positive results. And so what I would say for that is it's what's probably saying is that um, that you're so I don't want to say like it's a bad mix. Like it's not that your herbalism is a bad mix. It's that you may be trying to cram too much into your particular cauldron with the herbalism. And what it may be actually saying is that you need to break it into smaller component pieces that you need to work with. A couple of specific ingredients first. Pick a few herbs to work with at a time. And just really focus on getting to know those particular herbs, and be willing to be wrong with them as well. Be willing to make mistakes with them, and from there, hopefully, that will grow a little bit. Does that work? Did that help a little bit?
Let's hope so.
I hope so. Like I said, this deck can get nasty. It can get real mean.
I,
Like,
I want to I want to do a reading with that one too. Okay. So the next question, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I'm going to try it. It's Mavi Ka Plumbaga. Not
okay.
sure. 7. Let me know what deck you would like me to use, and I will do that. So I have playing cards. I have Rider Waite Tarot, um, Literary Witches, and Sacred Hags Oracles. So
Yeah. And inversion,
let me know.
you're asking about which deck are you asking? Are you asking about this deck inversion?
I believe so.
Okay. If you are asking about that one, it's called the Oracle of Black Enchantment, or Mildred Payne's Oracle of Black Enchantment. I think it may be done by Deviant Moon. Yeah, it's Deviant Moon, which does a really amazing tarot deck as well. But that's their this is another one of their decks. It's an Oracle deck. Okay. So you're answering. Which question are you answering right now?
Um, let's see. I've got a new job coming up. I'm a little nervous about how will it go. And then right
Okay.
below that is mysterious error message. Do you want to take that one?
Mysterious error message. Let me see if I can scroll back up and find that.
I can read it. It says excited to start digging into to your book. He said he just got it.
Okay.
Or
Thank you. By the way, thank you for buying the
she.
book.
I don't. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No,
Yeah.
not sure which.
They. Yeah.
Yes, I just need to use they for everybody because I need to stop assuming. Okay. If y'all are reading, I'm curious what field/industry will I find the most success?
Okay. And do you have do you have a deck that you would like me to read with specifically? I'll throw that out there to you. It looks like Mavi wants you to use
Oh,
literary, which is for your.
sweet. Okay, cool. Let me get these out of the way.
That was, and so I'm hoping to hear from mysterious error message. If you'll tell me just what deck, same deck as last. You want Mildred Payne? Everybody's gonna want Mildred Payne now. So,
Everybody
all right,
wants some pain, that's for sure.
it is. It's a mess. All right, so which fields less industry will be the most successful? All right. Katrina's having a similar question. Okay. All right. I'm going to let Lane do her shuffling first, and then while she's reading, I'll do my shuffling. Okay. We become spokespeople for Mildred Payne and for literary, which is I think people are really enjoying those two decks. So.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm really trying to shuffle these, y'all.
Okay. They're big. They're really big cards.
Okay. Cut and Yumiko Kurahashi, which is transformation. Okay. Now, I've never read her, so I'm not sure what to go off
there.
there.
I should also say, if you get the literary, which is deck, it's got plenty of information. There's also a book that goes with it, and it's written by the deck is informed by the stuff is written by and the book is written by Taisha, I think is how you pronounce her name, Kitaskaya, who does the Dear Baba Yaga advice article that you sometimes see online, which is really good. But there's a book that goes with it, so if you need expansion on this particular author, let me know, and maybe I can read something out of the literary. Which
okay,
is,
cool. Yeah, so it says masks/becoming/play for kind of the main readings for this card. So Yumiko Kurahashi was 1935 to 2005, a badass of experimental fiction from Kochi Prefecture, is almost entirely unknown among English speakers. Influenced by Kafka and French literature, Kurahashi's bizarre stories feature ghosts, flying heads, witch masks, incest, and bestiality. Oh my, okay. Her work will completely freak you out and provoke you with its fairy tale logic and philosophical underbelly. Okay, so this is telling me that it may be something out of left field. You know, like it's just not something that you would expect, or something that like really kind of challenges you, but that well, I see it going well, I guess. It's just really, that's such an interesting card. Sorry.
no, because her stuff is so out there, right? It's
Yeah, yeah.
so wild. Yeah, I haven't read her. I know some of the authors they're referencing, like Kafka, obviously, and she reminds me a little bit of with the way they're describing it. She does stuff that sounds a little like Haruki Murakami as well,
Mm,
and that's sort of like Kafka on the Shore, Wind Up Bird Chronicle, really freak out the squares kind of fiction,
yeah.
but even more so. So
I find this
yeah.
picture interesting as well. There's a like half-eaten apple, an egg, I think, maybe. That is.
Oh, I think we may be freezing. I hope not. Am I freezing, or is Lane freezing? Does anybody know? Are we freezing? Oh no, do we get stuck? Do we get frozen? If anybody can hear me, let me know. Oh, we lost Lane. Oh, Lane got frozen. And she's gone. So I think she got lost. She'll come back though, I think. I'll send her a request. She'll be back in just a minute.
Sorry, I don't know what happened.
There we go. Okay.
There we go.
All right. right. So Lane's gone, but she's coming back. They're saying the cards. She's back. Okay, good.
Must be the
Okay.
card. So yeah, like this hand is kind of coming out of the egg yolk, and then at first I was so dumb. I thought this was a baseball glove with a baseball in it, but it's not. I'm pretty sure it's like a clamshell type of deal with a pearl.
Okay.
So yeah, again, I'm interested if any of those that symbolism connects with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, let Lane know if that connects, because that is definitely kind of like a let's freak out the squares kind of kind of card.
Yeah, so
And
when it comes to job stuff, I see that as being challenging, but absolutely worth it. And maybe like, whoa, I didn't necessarily expect to be doing this particular thing, but I don't know. Maybe I'm maybe I'm not reading it right.
all right, and then I had a question from I think it was Mysterious Error Message, right? So Mysterious Error Message, I hope you're still here. Um, and I'm doing the Black Enchantment Oracle, and I pulled card number 51. This is called the Balefire. As
Ooh.
you can see, it is people leaping over a bonfire during sort of a sabbatic rite, right? The little white book for it says, in a moonlight ritual, the wicked couples leap together over the bonfire, celebrating their fertility, honoring nature. Purified by roaring flames, they set off into the woods to produce new offspring. The dark meaning is sinful sexual relations, wild or obscene behavior, failing to uphold long-standing tradition. The light meaning is eliminating negative energies, purification, a rite of passage, celebration and tradition, fiery passion, and procreation. So what I would say with that is if you're talking about kind of what industry would be most effective for you, one, I would say there's a possibility, I don't want to, I'm not trying to court controversy with this, but something that would have to do with desire, or I don't want to necessarily say sex work specifically, because that may be a bridge too far with this. Obviously, this deck can go that direction very, very easily, and it likes to kind of bring up some really interesting stuff. In that sort of somebody says, oh, it just means you're going to be an accountant, and it could be that, I don't know, but what I really get out of it is that it's saying that because it's all about kind of breaking with previous tradition, and going off and starting something new. So to me, what that says is that it could be something entrepreneurial. It could be something where you're going to have to go into an industry that you don't have familiarity with, that you do not have previous experience with. It could absolutely, on a very literal level, could be something very sort of sex work oriented. On a non-literal level, I think it probably would be much more likely to be speaking to you about making a major shift kind of in your in your career trajectory in general, your basic direction, just because it's kind of saying like this is a moment where you're going to be leaping the flame, and going and doing something probably more creative than you have been doing, something that's going to involve you doing something that may be a little riskier, but that may involve you creating something new that you haven't done before. Yeah, people are kind of picking that up. Somebody just said the same thing in the
Yeah,
chat.
that was funny. Like
So,
the exact same time you said it.
and you
That was
wanted to see the
funny.
imagery on the card again. There's the imagery on the card. Card number 51, the Balefire. So that's that one.
Very neat.
All
So
right.
since I was kicked out, I don't have the chat anymore from
Oh
when
no.
I was, so I can't read any other questions that were up earlier.
Okay. Well, I will. I'll tell you what, because we're kind of getting towards the end of time here. So I think if we each do one more reading a piece, that'll kind of fill us up. So let's just kind of throw it open. If two more questions. If you want Lane to read, just say this one's for Lane and say which deck you want her to use.
Yes.
And
I'll
tell
put them
if
right here so you can see.
if you want me to read, same thing. Just say this one's for Corey, and tell me which deck you want me to use, and I'll be glad to do that. So I've got a question popping up in the chat. This is, I'm put in a position to move across state. Would it be best to move across state? Who do you, this is the Beautygram. Which person, which deck do you want to do that? And just Corpy, you're saying same question, career/job direction, reader's choice. So
Okay.
I'll tell you what, do you want, Lane, do you want to just pick one?
Sure.
Let's do kind of reader's choice on this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll take just Corpy. You take the Beautygram. How about that?
Okay.
All right. So just Corpy, I'm going to read on your career job direction. The Beautygram, Lane's going to read on your career job direction. I think I'm actually going to do the 5-cent tarot for you, just Corpy, because I've worked with it a little bit more, and I may be able to kind of interpret it a little bit better on that front. So I hope that's okay.
And I think I'll just stick with literary witches. I don't know. I'm kind of wanting to do playing cards as well, but I don't have your book in front of me, Corey. Of course, I know you're right there, but I don't want it to have, turn into like another one where you have to read it. So I will do this one.
That's okay.
If that's all right with the Beautygram.
Yeah, she said, please, thanks so much, intuitive, either, whatever. So it's all good. So
okay.
Be career and job direction. It's just, this is the most exciting part of the thing. It's just listening to a shuffle cards. It's like ASMR.
Hello.
Yes. All right.
Okay. I got book.
Huh.
Good night, witch wife.
Okay.
Hope, revelation, or ignorance. So I'd really like your book on this, Corey.
Oh, so hope, revelation, or ignorance on what was the image?
Book.
Oh, so this one may not. So this expanded book is actually just the expansion of the actual authors, the actual witches that are listed in here, and not those individuals. So you're not going to get any more specificity on those symbols. I'm sorry.
Oh man, I don't know how to read that then, not knowing, much more about the situation.
So the question is about the job and career, and you've got book. And what were the 3 keywords that they gave you for book?
Let's see. Sorry, had it right here. Hope, revelation, and ignorance.
Hope, revelation, and ignorance. And that's kind of a, so this also has to do with moving across state for work, right? That was also part of it.
I believe so.
Would it be best to move? So it may, what I'd say, like, obviously, like, hope and ignorance are kind of 2 sides of a coin in that move. Because you're hopeful, right? You have this anticipation, like, this is exciting. You're going to be moving to a new place. But in doing that, yeah, she says she's going to be uprooting her family to do that. So that becomes very, very, that becomes very, very challenging because you don't know what's waiting for you, right? This is the ignorance side of it. And ignorance can breed hope, but it can also breed fear, right? So it's a question of, in that situation, I would assume what it's asking you to do is, and I'm not saying, I don't think it's saying that you haven't done research, but I think it's saying that you have to do more research to make that decision. It's saying you have to fill the gap of the ignorance. You have to maybe talk to people who live in that place and figure out what are the support systems that exist wherever it is that you're going, right? That's how I would interpret in something like that. So does that jive for you?
Me? Is that Or are you asking?
For either of you. Yeah, I was asking Lane, but yeah, curious.
I mean, I think that's a great interpretation of that. And yeah, like the book kind of always represents knowledge to me.
Hmm.
So it's interesting that it also has ignorance as one of its kind of keywords.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, just finding out more information to make even more of an educated guess. But I mean, clearly you've done your research if you're thinking about this. But I don't know, like maybe something you're not seeing or something else that someone you can talk to or something like that. I'm not sure, but
Hmm.
I'm sorry if that wasn't very
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. No, I really get the impression. Well, I think it's just one of those situations where it's basically kind of pushing this particular person to it's saying like right now that you've got a lot of kind of tangled emotions about this. The only way that you're going to be able to get past that is to fill that gap with facts, to fill the gap with information, right? So yeah, she's saying this does resonate. So I mean, I think it really is going to come down to like you need some spies on the other side of that state telling you
Yeah.
what it's going to be like. So okay, and then sorry. I think it was Kopi, just Kopi, Corpy. I'm sorry, I keep saying that, but just Corpy. Um, so you'd asked about kind of your career and job prospects. So this is, like I said, this is the 5 cent tarot, and it gives you the figure of temperance. So if you're familiar with temperance within the typical kind of Rider-Waite deck, right? This is the sort of balancing of forces, right? This idea of equalizing, pouring out from one to help fill another, right? That's kind of what temperance does on those cards. In this one, you can see temperance is a turtle with butterfly wings. So it's a very different kind of way of looking at balance, right?
Hmm.
The idea is that, butterfly wings are not going to lift a turtle up, right? They're never going to actually let the turtle fly. But they do give it a sense of sort of wonder and whimsy. They give it sort of a sense of being elevated. Similarly, both butterflies and turtles are kind of transformative creatures, right? They're
Mm.
creatures that live in two places to some extent, right? So the turtle can live in water or on land. The butterfly spends a lot of time as a ground dweller in the caterpillar state, but then as the butterfly is able to take to the air, right? So this is a sense of if you're asking about kind of what are the kind of right career fields for you, there or what is your sort of a career outlook going to be? It's going to be asking you to look to your current skill sets and making some decisions about how are you going to balance your current skill sets against the skill sets that you need for whatever this next career move is for you, right? So on the one hand, this is the right now it's sort of the butterfly wings on the turtle. You may be kind of beginning to work on like what are the skills that I need to acquire, and it may feel a little bit like I'm putting butterfly wings on a turtle. It's not doing anything, right? But what's eventually likely to happen with this is that you're going to start to get a real sense of purpose out of it, right? Which is one of they have keywords on the cards here. One of the keywords is purpose, and by trying to figure out how do the skills that you already have apply in new career fields or new career opportunities, you're going to start to see some of those potential opportunities opening up. Because and this happens to all of us, right? Where we get really used to kind of working in one specific way. We develop our skill sets, we develop our fields. For me, I'm an academic, right? So I'm very used to kind of thinking like, here's how academics work. And it takes a lot of effort for me then to kind of turn that part of my brain off and turn towards something a little more maybe public facing and say, oh, now I'm in this mode. I can still bring over some of those academic skills to this other place where I'm not doing some work or doing something fulfilling to me, right? But it requires kind of reframing what you already have the talent at, so that it matches this new direction that you're wanting to go. So
I also
yeah.
wanted to just read the description from the really quick little Rider Waite deck that I have for
Hmm.
temperance, if that's
Yeah.
okay. 'Cause I thought it was interesting. economy, moderation, frugality, management, accommodation.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's funny to me because so many of that of those words could be applied to job type stuff. It's
Yeah,
not
I
like
mean,
it's the star loss or
yeah,
theft
no,
or
no.
anything like that.
Well, no, and the whole idea of sort of like frugality and management, this could be something where I don't know what your particular skill sets are, just Corpy, but if it's something where I don't know if you've ever like thought about like maybe being a coach or a guide, doing like, some sort of guidance work. That would make a lot of sense with both the sort of traditional temperance meanings, but then also like this kind of adapted meaning is this sort of sense of like showing people kind of their own path. So maybe something where you're taking your skills that you've used in your own career and saying like, well, how do I turn those into something that can help teach other people too? That could be a part of this too. So you're saying it resonates. That's good. Hopefully it will continue to resonate. We'll just see. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We really, really appreciate people coming out for this.
Definitely.
And if this was good for y'all, it was good for us. It was good for me. Was it good for you, Lane?
Very.
So we'll probably, hopefully we'll be able to do this a little more often. Instagram is such a fun way to kind of get out here and do this kind of stuff. We'll also hopefully be taking the videos for this. It won't keep the chats or anything like that, but it'll keep the actual video content. And we'll kind of pull those and put them up hopefully like on YouTube or something like that. So if you want to go back and look at these after the fact, you can do that too. So and then the other thing we're hoping to do is take this and strip the audio out of it and turn it into little podcast episodes that you can listen to through our podcast feed too. So check those. Keep an eye out for those too. So everybody who joined in tonight, thank you so much.
Seriously,
I loved
thank
this.
you.
I thought this was fun.
Yeah, and for everybody saying thank you, you're so welcome. It was a lot of fun. I hope it helped in any sort of way.
Yeah, definitely. Lane,
Yeah.
thank you too. I know like
Yeah.
the stars were against you for a minute there, but you did so well kind of recovering from this. And
Aw,
thank you
shucks.
for joining.
Thank you.
Well, great. Everybody have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you again soon. For now, thanks so much.
Be well.